Okay, my name is Ken Schneider. I am a meteorologist. I went to the University of St. Thomas in Houston when they used to have a meteorology program. They do not anymore. I think they got rid of it in the mid to late 80s or late 80s, I think. Um, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in meteorology. They had a private weather company called Institute for Storm Research on campus, which I worked at during my time at school when I was in meteorology at classes, and I also worked there after I graduated. Um, I did go down to South America to Tierra del Fuego in southern Argentina, where I was an on-site forecaster down there. I had to learn the different weather systems down there because everything rotates in a different direction. So they had a lot of winter storms coming up from Antarctica, and that was very interesting because they had. I was working for oil companies. One was the one in Tierra del Fuego was Total, the French oil company, and they get a certain wind direction. I think it's out of the east southeast. They have large swells that can really knock the platform over and cause a lot of damage. So we had to be on the lookout for that, forecast that. Nothing like that happened, luckily, during my 2 months that I was down there. But it did happen to the other forecaster that was down there after I came back, and there was damage to the platform. He failed to forecast it. So, but anyways, the oil crisis in the mid '80s kind of really lost our clients for the Institute for Storm Research, and so I was stuck unemployed for a few months, trying to figure out where I was going to go. I did apply to the NOAA Corps. I did hear back from them in San Diego. They wanted me. But at the same time, I got an offer from the Weather Channel in Atlanta, and I had to make a decision whether I was going to go with the NOAA Corps and spend so many years out on the ocean on a ship, or go to Atlanta, Georgia, and forecast for the Weather Channel. I probably should have taken the NOAA Corps, but I end up taking the Weather Channel job. So I was at the Weather Channel. I was uh, oh a graphic, the graphic person behind the scenes, making the maps, the weather maps, for like 6 months. And then they asked me, "Do you want to get promoted to analyst forecaster?" And I said, "Sure." So they gave me a test. It was a very complicated test. I had to go in a room. I had to answer all these questions, like the breakdown of a fronts, break down the fronts. I had to know my meteorology real well. I passed with flying colors. They promoted me to analyst forecaster. I stayed there from pretty much 86 to 1986 to 1988. And I had already decided I was going to stay at the Weather Channel, but they wanted me to be there. John Hope was the hurricane specialist, was about ready to retire. And so they asked me if I would replace John Hope on television to do the hurricane. I didn't want to go on television. That was not my goal. And so I told him, I reluctantly said, "I'm sorry, thank you for the offer, but the Weather Service gave me a job or offered me a job. It was kind of between Birmingham, Alabama or Augusta, Georgia. Well, they fought it out. The two offices fought it out who was going to get me. Since Birmingham already had a meteorologist intern on shift there or on their staff, WSO Augusta never had a meteorologist intern. So WSO Augusta won out. So I ended up going to Augusta, Georgia, which was not that far from Atlanta. And I just took I-20 all the way out to Augusta, and my friends from the Weather Channel helped me move out there. Stayed in Augusta, Georgia. Hurricane Hugo hit Charleston, South Carolina. I think in 1989, I believe. And I was on shift then. I was helping them out with the radar and forecasting and all that. And then my boss said, "You did great. Go home." I said, "But there's a hurricane outside. I don't want to go home." And they said, "No, we don't need you anymore. You're fine. Go ahead and go home." So I drove home in the middle of a hurricane with what do you call it? The
Or
street
flashers.
signs. yeah, the street signs falling down to the ground. I was dodging them. Winds were blowing crazy. I ended up making it home to my apartment. So that was kind of an interesting scenario for me. And then I decided I'd got to get out of here. I want to go somewhere else, and I want to go back to Texas. So uh, Brownsville, Texas had an opening, so I applied there. And because of my tropical experience at Houston with the Institute for Storm Research, they liked that and hired me in Brownsville. So I encountered some tropical storms in Brownsville and never a hurricane, but had some tropical storms. Then I stayed there from 1990 to 1994. And then in 1994, decided I don't think I want to stay in the valley much any longer. I went to Amarillo. So it was kind of a choice between Amarillo and Midland. They were both fighting it out for me too. So I had two offices in Georgia and Texas fighting for me. So the Midland office wanted me as a SOO, a science and operations officer, and Amarillo wanted me as their they were modernizing the WSR 88D, and they wanted me for the upgrade they were doing as a new improved forecaster. So I ended up going to Amarillo. And stayed there till from 1994 to 2022 when I retired. So, and now I'm retired and enjoying the quiet life now. So that's about it for me. So,
Kind of a wild life that you've
yeah,
had with weather and everything. Kind of traveled
yeah,
around,
I've seen it all. I've seen it all. Yeah,
right?
and I've been in the private sector. I've been in the public sector. So
But you,
I've done everything. So
like I said,
my
you
life
kind of
is
seen it
complete.
all.
Yeah, my life
Exactly.
is complete. I'm good. I'm good. So.
And you're still doing, local, just like forecasting type stuff at
Oh yeah,
home.
yeah.
Just
For Hill and Bosque counties in Texas, yes, because
mhm.
the weather you might leave the weather, but the weather never leaves you. It stays with you. So
Exactly, exactly. So I did have a couple questions that people want to know about, like your time with the Weather Service, and want
yeah.
to ask a meteorologist as well because they want to know kind of maybe the day-to-day life. How does weather affect, the meteorologist? Because y'all are still people, y'all are very smart people, y'all are behind the scenes, but you don't see everything that goes on in the ground until basically after the event. So
Mhm.
that's why people want to kind of hear what goes on behind the scenes as well. And that's why I have you on this interview today to hopefully hear some great answers from you today. And also, I appreciate your time to come and answer these questions as well.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the questions that were asked is, what severe weather day do you remember most?
Oh boy. Well, 1995, a year after I got to Amarillo, I remember the Pampa tornado vividly. The only problem with that is, I believe, I can't remember that far back, but I do believe I was off that day. I was on my day off. They didn't call me in for overtime, but I was following it at home. And I do remember that day pretty well. And I remember the video recording from the sheriff as he went through. I think they had good video footage of that tornado as it went through the kind of the industrial area of Pampa. I do remember that. There were other days. I remember the blizzards in Amarillo. We had some really bad blizzards in Amarillo. My big thing is when I was at the Amarillo office in '96, I believe, or '98, I believe. They did ask me to start up the fire weather program. So we didn't have a fire weather program before then. So I started it up from the ground up, and it pretty much took off. My meteorologist in charge said I did a fantastic job getting it off the ground. It became popular, and by the time I retired, nobody wanted me to do it anymore. They wanted to do it themselves. Everybody wanted a piece of the pie. So I'm glad my baby, I saw it grow up and become an adult, and I feel like a proud papa right now. So, but I do remember the 2006 fires in the Panhandle. That's my big call. I was on shift, and I was helping the emergency managers and getting the fire warnings out and making sure everybody was safe. Fortunately, I never was the reason for anybody dying, but did have people that foolishly foolishly went back in their homes as the fire approached their home. They went back in. So, that's my. I wish that wouldn't have happened. I wish nobody would have died in that fire, but I can't help that. It's not my fault. So, but I did everything on my end to save lives.
Exactly. Another question, what was the hardest weather event that you had to forecast?
Oh boy. Um, Hardest, I would have to say winter weather. Winter weather is always too hard, especially in the Panhandle. You could have the freezing line 8 miles north of Amarillo. You could have snow 8 miles north of Amarillo or 10 miles north of Amarillo, and then in Amarillo it could be ice. It could be freezing rain, and you have to know exactly where that freezing line is, when it's going to turn over to snow, when it's going to stay ice. You have a potpourri of all kinds of winter weather elements that could happen. And then you also had some local effects that cause heavier snow, which I don't want to get into because that's a little bit kind of what do you call it, a difficult area, that people don't want to talk about it. But anyways, it could dump an extra 3 to 5 inches of snow that you didn't see coming. So yeah, winter weather to me is the hardest. But
Definitely. And I remember back when you were working out the weather service too, like you did interviews for like the news channels talking about a big snow event too, and didn't get that
yes,
much
yeah, and
snow.
that was not my best moment because I got called in to do an interview with the Weather Channel, my old job, my old employer, and they asked me to back up their forecast that they're going to get like 20 inches of snow. Well, winter weather is very difficult. And so I had to go on there and with a straight face and say, we're going to get 20 inches of snow. And I was like, are you sure you want me to do this? And they're like, yeah, nobody else wants to do it. You do it since you work for them. And so I did. And of course, we barely got anything. I think we got a trace of snow that event.
Yeah,
But I
and
didn't, I was uncomfortable doing that interview because I wasn't supportive of the forecast. But
definitely. Also, what weather models do you trust the most when you were working at the weather service?
oh boy. I don't like the GFS. It has its moments, it can be good, but really all the weather models are getting better. The Euro is better, the European model is getting better. Um, let's see, the NAM is getting better. I know some people may not like the NAM, but it is getting better. There's a NAM Nest, a model that's really good. Uh, I like the what is it? The HRRR, the H triple R. I like that but that's more of what do you call it? The convective model. Convective allowance a CAM model. It's a short-term model that forecasts convective weather, and it does really well. And there are some NSSL models that are really really good. I do like them because there's a lot of science behind it. I like models that have science behind them. So
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. There's some that I trust, some that I don't trust. Storm chasing, kind of looking at stuff.
yeah,
Some are better than others, and then
right, yeah.
there's always new models coming out too that
Yeah,
they're working
the
on.
Ruck is another good one. I forget the acronym what it stands for. I can't really tell you right now. I can't even remember what the cams. I know it's convective allowance. I don't know, but anyways,
Allowance or something like that. Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. That sounds wrong, but I'll have to look it up now after the interview. But yeah,
So, what does a normal shift look like during severe weather season at the weather service?
it's we don't have a normal shift. We do call in extra people. We do prepare ahead of time. So if we know there's going to be severe weather like days in advance, we ask people if they're available to be called in. It's you can refuse, but if we're really under the gun, it's best to go in and help out. We could have as few as I don't know, 6 to 8 maybe, and as many as 15 to 20,
Wow.
depending on the event. If it's a big event.
Hmm.
because there's a lot of phone calls. You have to realize people are calling in. People are asking on social media what's going on or what they want information. Uh, we got radar. We have two people on radar. One kind of watches the radar, the other issues the warnings. We have to break the radar up into segments if it's a big event. So, like somebody might take the northern panhandles or the eastern panhandles. Somebody would take the southern panhandles or the western panhandles. So, it depends on the event, how big it is, how many people we need. But we can have as many as we need to have, basically.
It, it sounds like a good big team effort to kind of break it up in
Yes.
segments so
Oh, yes.
someone
Yes.
isn't looking over the whole radar and everything.
No, no,
Um,
no, 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 no. It's not like that at all. And that's
that's
why we
good.
don't need we don't need people on their smartphones telling us where a tornado is, because believe me, we have enough people looking at it on our own on our radar, and our radars are updated more frequently than their radars. So, we
Yeah.
have better we have a certain technology on our end, on the weather service end, that the people on their smartphones do not have. So do not tell, don't tell the weather service what's going on, because we know ahead of, even well before you even on your smartphone or your app. So
So this goes into this next question. What's happening in the office during a major outbreak? Like what's kind of going on?
um
What's everyone doing, during that?
well,
You kind
working
of said
hard yeah, if somebody has to take a break, they have to go to the bathroom or something, then we'll have somebody replace them. We'll say, hey, can you fill in for Joe because he's got to go to the restroom, or but yeah, it's everybody's doing their job. We got the nose to the grindstone. I mean, it's all hands on deck. Um, yeah, there's nobody slacking off or doing anything. If you're doing that, then you don't need to be getting overtime and you go home. So
exactly.
it yeah, so if you've got to be doing something, you're doing something. So
So when there is something like a tornado, like you see a big, tornado signature or something on radar with debris signature coming up, going over a town, do you guys like panic? What
no,
happens? Do
no,
y'all panic when that happens?
no,
Like, come freak
uh-uh.
out.
There's no time. We don't panic. We got to keep our cool. We keep our cool. We know our jobs. We're educated people, very smart meteorologists in the weather service. They do their job fantastically. I don't want to hear bad talking about the weather service,
Mhm.
because their meteorologists are top notch. Um, yeah, there. If we see a big hook echo with a debris signature, we're probably putting out a tornado emergency alert. We're probably in contact with emergency managers. We're too busy to be worrying about our own feelings, or even if our wives and kids are okay. We hope that they are. We hope they're listening. Your spouses and your children should be paying attention to the warnings. So yeah, we're too busy trying to save life and property to be panicking. We don't do that. That's not in our vocabulary to
And
panic.
that's got to be hard too, if like you see something like going over like a hometown that you live in, you have to kind of put those feelings to the side,
Exactly.
even though you in depth you're probably hurting,
Oh
thinking, oh
yeah.
my gosh, this is where I live. I know exactly where this is going over, but
Right.
you guys still have a job to do. That's really
Yeah, you have to keep
important.
your emotions in check. I mean, you're hoping inside that everybody's okay, your family is okay, your relatives or whatever. But you have to be focused on your mission. The mission is to save life and property.
Definitely. And what radar products do forecasters rely on the most?
For what? For severe weather or just everyday?
Just in general.
Oh, in general, we use all models. I mean, we have at our fingertips. We have everything basically. We can call up any kind of maps, observations, satellite, radar. That the other thing is, if there's a severe storm that's further too far away for our like Amarillo's radar, we can turn to Dodge City or to Pueblo and see what's going on their side of things. How it like we had a tornado in Cimarron County in the Western Oklahoma Panhandle, and I didn't see it. Pueblo didn't see it. Dodge didn't see it. I got chastised by another forecaster for not putting a tornado warning out. My boss said, don't do that. I investigated this. Ken did a good job. There was no way he could have known. He said all the radars did not indicate that, and there's nothing that he did that was wrong. So yeah, we look at other radars. We look at any kind of models. I mean, forecasters have their own preferential model. Some may like the NAM, some may like the GFS, but we're now using for at least when I was there, anything past 3 days, we were using the NWS blend of models. So
Okay.
from 4 to 7 days out or longer, we were using the National Weather Service blend of models. In the short term, days 1 to 3, we could use whatever short term model we wanted to use. The NAM, the RUC, whatever. I mean, it didn't matter. So GFS, if you want.
My next question is, what is the biggest weather myth people believe? I know there's a lot of them.
Oh, oh, I don't know. I just pull out one. Well, here in Texas, everybody says, "Oh, when it starts getting warm by March, everything's good. You can start planting." No, our forecaster in Amarillo, Ed Andrade, used to say you have the blackberry winter, which is basically things warm up in March, but then by Easter, you get a cold snap, and you get a freeze or really cold temperatures, and that's been true. I've seen that. People think, oh, now it's warm and we're not going to get any cold weather again. Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a bunch of them. I don't know. I'm just pulling one out of the top of my head. I don't know. There's a lot that people probably go by, and it may or it may not be true. I don't know. So.
I know a lot of people believe like the chemtrail theories and stuff like that, how
Oh,
it affects the
that
weather and
stuff.
stuff.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I don't get me started on that. I don't
Yeah,
want to talk
there's
about that. That's getting into a conspiracy theory thing, and I don't want to go there. You know
yeah,
me, I'm science. I'm all
yeah.
science, no conspiracy theory. So,
Another question: what weather technology do you see coming in the future?
well, they're already using AI. AI is already being used in the forecast. They're testing it out and trying it out. So that's already being done. My boss asked me that one time in my performance evaluation, and I told him I see virtual, where you just swipe your hand and the forecast will go to something else. You could change models with the wave of your hand. You can look at radars. You could do this and that and have radars pop up and you could see what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot of new technology out there. It's going to get better and better. Forecasts are going to get better and better. The problem I'm worried about is replacing humans. If we start relying too heavily on technology, not saying anything bad about technology, I'm just saying if we get too dependent on technology, it it could backfire. It could be some repercussions. I still think humans are the best way to do things.
I
But we do
agree.
need technology. It needs to go hand in hand. It's got to be a joint thing where humans and technology work together. So,
I agree. Another question. When you reported disasters, what what do you wish the general public, not storm chasers, would have done more to help y'all in the weather service?
any information you have, if you're sitting on information that we're not privy to, the Weather Service is not privy to, then share it. If you're not going to share it, then what's the point? Um, I don't like people holding things in and not telling others about it. So, um, you know, if you got something to say it. You know, um,
Even if it's after the fact, and to
even if it's
like,
after the fact, yeah, it doesn't matter because there's always an investigation still going on. We can always change an EF2 to an EF3 or an EF3 to an EF4. They did that I think in Minnesota or somewhere. I don't know. They they did something. They went back and upgraded the EF category.
another question: how accurate are the weather forecasts? Like a 7 day model, is that accuracy increasing as well?
They're working on that right now. Past day 3, it's not good. 1 to 3 is probably a pretty good. The closer you are, is better. But 4 through 7, the NWS blend of models is doing a really good job. That's why they're using it now, and it's getting better and better and better. They're adding more and more uh, um, data into it, so it improves its accuracy. So, but right now it's still not perfect, but I'd say it's better than, I don't know, 60, 70% good right now, I would say. Um, but yeah, the closer you are, days 1 to 2, that's why I don't like when I hear somebody saying 2 weeks out that's going to do this. I know that people don't like that CFS version 2 model. That's kind of a climate thing, but it's the Northern Illinois University. They're testing it out, looking at it. It seems to be doing good, surprisingly for that far out.
And it
But it
seems like
does
it
have its
verified. It seems like
yeah.
it verified too this
Well,
upcoming weather event too.
yeah, it did have it over North and Central Texas originally. Then they shifted it back between, that round by Abilene and Wichita Falls area, and then they shifted it back to the east again, and then shifted it back to the west. The west forecast that they had was good; it was right on. The east part, when it was shifted over North and Central Texas, it was not as good. But where they shifted to, it was good. So yeah, it fluctuates, and depending on where they put it, and it verifies where they move it to. That it's not a bad forecast, but it does have some problems. But yeah.
Um, what would you say is the most important weather phenomenon that people are generally under prepared for?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody's getting weather aware now. Everybody's like, look at me, I'm an expert. I'm a weather influencer. I'm on YouTube, or I'm on, social media, doing this. And everybody loves the weather and they all want to hear about it. And they all think they know more than the next guy. So, um, uh, I don't know. It's really hard to say because I just believe the science. I don't go for uh,
Hype.
for embellishing or glamorizing it or what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. Being too what I use this word all the time and I can't think of it now. My mind is really a blank today.
No, you're good. You're
Um,
good.
okay, yeah. It's hyping it up. I don't like
Mhm.
the hype. I'm against hyping it up. That's the word I was looking for. I don't like to hype up the weather. If you're going to do that and make money, then do it and don't tell me about it because I don't want to hear about it. But I don't like the hyping. I go by the science and the accuracy, and I don't believe things until I see the whites of its eyes. So,
I
but
agree.
like the CFS, I mean, yes, I do sort of believe it, but I don't entirely believe it.
You believe it to
So
a point.
I believe up to a point, yes, but I'm not totally sold on it because it's still 2 weeks out. So
I agree.
I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptic that far out. So
I agree. Okay, if someone was interested in meteorology but was afraid of the amount of college coursework it would take up front, what position in the Weather Service would you recommend as a starting path?
Oh, yeah, there was some mom that was said her child wants to do like GIS stuff, but doesn't want to take the math and the science and all that. And I think she came back and said that her child doesn't want to be a meteorologist actually. That there's really not a lot of need in the local forecast offices for a GIS, and they are doing away. They phased out the weather technicians. The ones that came out of like the military. They don't have a degree. They're basically just based like observers. They did like the balloon launches and the upper air releases and other things, but um, uh, they're really going hardcore. They're actually changing the weather service up. They're like even my schooling that I had. They're saying that is dinosaur. That's prehistoric. I'm basically not qualified to be in the weather service anymore because of my schooling. They want they want updated school, more recent graduates from meteorology school. So yeah, there's a lot more math and stuff involved in that. You got to have certain courses you got to take, like I think differential equations, and I think you have to take um, like observation, like weather instrumentation kind of classes and stuff like that, which I did. I did take that at St. Thomas, but um, anyways, but they want more recent graduates. So I think now they're trying to phase out the old and in with the new. So basically, they're restructuring and reorganizing the weather service now. So I don't know. I mean, we have electronic technicians. You can work in the weather service fixing radar equipment and upper air equipment and stuff like that, computers and all of that. But as far as not having a meteorology degree, I don't know. That's going to have to go somewhere else. I can only speak from a forecast office perspective. I can't say other, like larger web offices like maybe NSSL may need somebody. I don't know. Storm Prediction Center. I don't know if they have anything like that, but that's for them to talk about, not me. I don't have that knowledge. So,
Another question is, did you enjoy your work as a meteorologist and why? What got you into it so much?
hmm. Well, I had a love for it. When I was, I don't know how old I was. I was like 13 or something, 12. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, my teacher was dating the sportscaster WFAA in Dallas, and they made me a sign that said Meteorologist Ken Schneider that I put on my bedroom door, and and then also I think it was in 1974 or something. There was a tornado over there by Forest Lane, and or no, Royal, was it uh, Preston Royal or something? And that I saw that tornado from our house, and I went and took a picture of it. My mom told me to go back inside, and I was like, "Mom, it's coming this way. I'm okay." She goes, "Don't get back in the house." I wanted to go up on the roof and film it, but she wouldn't let me. She told me to go back in the house, and she took the pictures. So, but yeah, and then when I was a kid living in New Orleans, I was in Hurricane Camille, even though it went into Mississippi more. But New Orleans did get the western periphery of the hurricane, and I did remember the experience from that. And so I've been in a lot of weather events that kind of sparked my interest. So,
That's really good. I really love that. And growing up with weather too, with you as a meteorologist, it sparked my interest in meteorology and weather in general. But
oh, and my parents did give me a Skillcraft weather equipment from the Dallas Naval Air Station one year, and I was able to find the exact replica or the exact thing of it on eBay, and I went and bought it, even though it's not mine. My parents got rid of it, of course, but I found one very, is exactly like that one I had, and I have it in the garage right now. So I just, memories, of my days. And I used to keep weather journals every day. I'd write down, severe weather. I'd call the weather service in Fort Worth. When I was a kid, I was Harold Taft's Valley View weather observer. So, I did a lot in the Dallas Fort Worth area, as far as weather when I was a kid. So,
so as your time in retirement, what are you doing now? You said before that you have still love weather and meteorology and everything, and you're trying to
yeah.
wind down. What are you doing now, for example, of weather?
Well, I try to keep out of it since I'm retired, but it's kind of hard not to stay in it. So I am doing things. I'm in CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team. I do Aries. I have a ham radio license, so I report in on the rate on the ham radio. My what's it, ICOM base station here in the house. And I have one in the car. But I do report severe weather, on there. I'm looking on the radar. I'm using GR Analyst, and also I've been doing like updates on severe weather, maybe winter weather for Hill and Bosque counties. Since we got, my wife has family members that live in Hill County, And since part of CERT and the Lake Whitney Amateur Radio Club is in Bosque County, so I kind of do both, but probably more for Hill than Bosque, but I do include both counties. So, but I do that on social media. So,
That's awesome. Now, kind of wrapping everything up here, what is something that you feel like you should like let people know to how to better help the weather service, either that storm chasers, the public? How can we better help them? Maybe put out more accurate warnings, to verify warnings or anything like that, um, because we all want to make sure we're safe. We all want to try to do our part to kind of help the weather service as well, because y'all are an important part to the community, as you said, life and property.
yeah.
Um, so what can we do? Just a final take of, in general, storm chasers and the public.
Um, just making sure you get information to us during severe weather if you're out. Try to your best. I know you're out driving around. Don't drive into dirt roads. Get flooded out or stuck in the mud. And you also want to make sure you're out of the path of a tornado. Of course, a rain wrapped tornado, it's kind of hard to do, but stay on paved roads and just be safe and try to, like I say, my big thing is report it to the weather service. Have their number handy. You should have a number. Everybody has a cell phone nowadays. Have your local, know what your local weather service forecast is before you go out on a chase. So if you're going to be in another CWA, county warning area, like Norman's or Tulsa or Dodge City or Wichita or wherever you are in the country, have that office's phone number so you can call them. That's my big thing. So,
And how about for like the public, anything they can do as well? Just the normal person that doesn't maybe know much about storms is just reporting the best way for them. Like, what should
yeah.
they report?
Well, they should take a spotter training class. Would be the best thing. The Weather Service offers that all the time. I just took an advanced. I don't have to, but I took it anyway. Advanced spotter training talk from Norman last night, but they were undergoing QLCS event, and they had some spin up tornadoes. They were interjecting live radar into the advanced spotter training talk. They had to cut it short. They had to make it like, I don't know, 30, maybe 45 minutes. And they had to call it off because they were under the gun. Yeah, report hail. Our criteria for wind is 58 miles an hour or higher for severe. But if you have a 55-mile-an-hour wind, report it. Or 50-mile-an-hour wind, report it. Especially if it's doing damage. Hail is inch in diameter or higher, which is basically quarter size, or higher. But you can report, they don't have pennies anymore. They did away with pennies. You can report dime size. Dime size hail, I think it's 88.88 inches. But basically 3/4 of an inch is fine. You could report that. So that way they know the hail may be increasing in size. So they get the warning out before it goes, when it goes with that 3/4 of an inch. And before it gets to 1 inch, they can have a warning out before it reaches that criteria. So, yeah, tornadoes definitely, any kind of rotating wall clouds, wall clouds, whether it's rotating or not. Funnel clouds, tornadoes, where you are in relation to the tornado. Is it doing damage? You see it doing damage? Which way is it moving? Or if you can give that, I don't know if you can, but that may be difficult. But any kind of information you can give about the tornado. Flooding is another thing you can do. Is if cars are stuck in high water, they're doing you think they're going to need high water rescues, report it, because the weather service can always call the police or law enforcement, and get some help. But yeah, call the law enforcement first, so they get help to the drivers or whoever's stuck. So, but flooding is another thing you can help out with. But yeah, I think that's about all I can really think of at the moment. So,
And what's the best way to report? Is it through like a phone call, maybe email, or
phone
social
call, yeah.
media?
Yeah, they do have a webmaster address, on their webpage. You can call up their webpage, and on the very bottom of the page, it'll say send any questions to the webmaster. It'll have like webmaster at Amarillo, some whatever, or Dallas or Fort Worth or whatever. You can send that to them. They also want if you're gonna have pictures of tornadoes or wall cloud, it's best to have a video. Do not send still pictures. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Back that up. You can send still pictures, but it's better to have a video of the tornado. Okay? Because they want to make sure, I want to see that it's real and happening, that it's actually on the ground rotating. There is so much AI out there that the Weather Service is getting inundated with AI photos of tornadoes that did not exist, and trying to pass it off as a real tornado. So we want to see the videos. I don't know if AI can generate a video of a tornado. I don't know. Maybe it can, but I think the meteorologist can say, "Oh, that's an AI tornado." But if you have your phone camera of a tornado, then they can tell the difference between an AI tornado and your phone video tornado. So it's best not to send pictures. It's best to send videos. And do not send AI generated tornadoes. Don't try to make things up to get the Weather Service to issue a tornado warning when one is not needed. That's totally ridiculous. And that ticks me off more than anything. So
I agree.
So that's about it, really. Don't try to fool people and try to make things worse than it is. Don't embellish things and hype things up. That gets under my skin when people do that. So
just the facts. You want the facts of what's going on.
Yeah, the real what's going on, not what you want it to be. What's really happening. That's what you need to do.
I agree. Well, I appreciate your time and everything. This interview has been great, and hopefully a lot of people have enjoyed this as well. Hope you have a great day, and thank you for all the time. I really do.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dad.
All right, you're welcome, Ken, my son.